Squad, deploy. We must explore these caverns.
Well, I gotta say...
But what if I don't want to explore the cavern?
Well, tough crap, because we gotta do a lot of spelunking private.
No. Remember, Dwibs, you're Carmine, so you're out there, so you're supposed to stand your ground, and we'll go get there and get you.
Yeah, I'm standing my ground, as I'm standing here and not moving from this spot.
Engage the enemy, Dwibs.
Well, that's what I told you to do. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, I am not leaving this spot unless I have a very good reason to.
Sorry, Marcus. Drill zone's gone dark.
No, I'm not joking. My feet are not leaving this spot at all.
Even with that giant monster that's approaching you?
No. What I mean is, I am standing right here, and I am not stepping one toe out of position.
Again, are you using your weapon to saw off your legs, so you technically just stand there? But you can...
No.
The Alpha 7 guys just made it.
Yeah,
the Alpha 7 guys just made it in.
And let me guess, they die within
No, they're fine. See?
I'm half expecting creatures to come up from the ground and eat them.
Well, this original trilogy has a horror element to it, so remember how Carmine died in the first game?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing. Like the coalition dropped the horror element that these early games
from
had.
what I understood from the marketing, the idea of horror was presenting the protagonist of 5 by having a schizophrenic mentality or something.
Ah, T.O.
Isn't there like the whole poster where her face is deforming into different...
Okay, Tio. As somebody who's seen the story of Gears of War 5, I'm just gonna say you're going to be incredibly disappointed by the payoff to that. Well, okay.
From what I've heard, Teo, that trailer has nothing to do with anything in the game itself. It's just...
There is technically a payoff to it, but it is, it's quite disappointing, let's just say.
It's like in Kane and Lynch 2, where what is the reason for why they didn't implement it anymore, the trippy sequence? Because I forgot which of the two takes his meds. That's it.
Not to mention, Teo, again, thanks to getting in touch with these people and know this. Basically, Teo, the specific woman from marketing at Microsoft that did that trailer, she's infamous for constantly going on Twitter talking about how everybody's a misogynist and all that shit.
What, for critiquing the game?
Well, let me get that too, but let me get it.
Pew pew pew! Ha! Look, ma, no face and no future.
Well,
again, that's one thing that I'm actually curious about the Locust. The very idea that, despite being brutish, they seem to have some sort of organization for a society. We do have a queen. They have the concept of clothes and armaments, and even some kind of basic strategy.
Yes, Theo, you've noticed quite a bit. Maybe it'll come to a head in Gears of War 3.
Again, I am a fan of stuff like Warhammer 40k or Starship Troopers, so obviously there is more to it than just, a instinct level enemy. But again, we'll see.
Yeah, I do like that Gears of War does remind us that even though something can be a do-bro shooter, it can still have a lot of intricate lore here and there. And hey, Carmine, he's okay.
Looks like Echo 5 is down. We're heading deeper into the hollow.
Tunnel maps show direct access approximately 30 meters ahead.
But
not even that far.
There's a wall there.
I can't seem to find it.
What about the grind lift?
I think it's busted, sir.
Well, there's actually another cool thing that I
Jack, see what you can do.
talk about. In the meantime, yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Beep boop.
Very nice. I think he was shielding his face from the sparks.
Drill! Okay, it's another way to protect Jack. Okay, segment. The Locust seem to have the best timing ever. They show up only when Jack is preparing something.
Maybe they have a sixth sense for this sort of stuff.
Maybe Jack is secretly being hacked by the Locust intelligence and they know exactly when to strike.
So you think Jack might be a sleeper agent?
It's like the twist with Skeeter in the original 52 series.
Oh my god.
Basically, Dweebs, you know that Dweebs. I think it's BRB.
Yeah.
I'll explain later. Oh shit, short of ammo. Yes, Pedro, a shotgun will clearly kill enemies at such a long distance.
Well, Tail, I ran out of ammo on the Lancer. What else do you want me to do?
I thought there was a package of ammo that you didn't took, but...
Is there?
Yeah,
Oh, there is.
There it is.
I think I'm trying to see if I can find more. Yeah, there you go.
Tell his little robot ass to hurry up.
Yeah, exactly.
Quiet, my friends. You cannot rush perfection. That only a robot can give.
Oh jeez. Oh, now we're flanked by kickers too.
Oh, here we go. Oh, it's not the Washington, but it's the Los Angeles Times. That's it. There you go. There you go. Here it is too. Back when there was a Los Angeles Times article on Gears 5, where the title is literally Gears 5 stars a woman behind the chainsaw gun. It's a strong move.
Considering the comics that we have read at the end of the first game, I find that unlikely.
Can I just talk about how funny I find it when all these games try and pretend like a woman behind a shotgun is oh so innovative and new when we had flipping Sarah Connor doing that back in the 90s.
And if you're gonna go with games, how about Lara Croft? So as the person who wrote this article, never heard of Lara Croft?
That's the problem, Pedro. Lara Croft had big boobs. That's not good.
Oh yeah, and she was just terrible for that.
So let me get this straight. So let me get this straight. That women who have big boobs don't matter.
Yay!
Okay. If we want to talk about women who don't have big boobs, how about Jill Flipping Valentine from Resident Evil or Regina from Dino Crisis?
That doesn't even make any sense. The only reason CS1 Lara had that physique was because of the limitations of the time. It wasn't.
Actually, it was intentional by some of the developers. If you recall, there are some interviews that specifically said that.
Oh, okay then. Well, but that's been fixed in the modern games anyway.
Pedro, you don't have to use the word "fix it" with me. Come on.
Men, good news and bad news.
Some call it fix. Some call it nerfing.
Well, regardless of your position, they were physically impossible. So it makes sense to. It made sense. It's kind of like how again, like Tifa's groups. Tifa's groups in the model are physically impossible. Like.
Okay. Now those were literally because of the PlayStation 1 rendering.
Proves you otherwise.
But anyway, good news is I have found the world's last working DVD player.
Really? In my bedroom?
Nice, I guess.
Well, unfortunately, there's bad news.
There's only Blu-rays.
No, there is a working DVD film. Unfortunately, it's Revenge of the Fallen.
No.
I guess it could be worse.
Well, not to Pedro, it wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that one tweet that Shepard gave me. Basically, to check out this, he made this video based on the microtransactions of Gears 5 called Gears of Greed.
Honestly, even if it's highlighting greed, that doesn't excuse a lame headline list.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, I'll take lame headlines over the actual act of greed.
Well, that's the thing, Joe, but that you can have two bad things at once.
Yeah, but they are not nearly equal. I mean, one's just something that will elicit a groan. The other is financially taking advantage of your clients.
Well, that would also elicit.
Yes, but one elicits a groan while also robbing people of money.
Anyway, Leaves, let me explain to you in the meantime, since I was telling also the others. you remember with that caterpillar-like villain that shows up at the end of Shazam?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing. Possibly we're gonna show it in the official sequel, but that thing, don't underestimate it because it can be rather deadly. I forgot exactly the name. Joe, maybe you can help me on this
Forge?
one. No, it's called like Mr. Intelligence or something. I forgot the actual
Oh
name.
God, the
But
name's
anyway,
on the tip of my
his
tongue.
power is obviously intelligence. You know, he's capable of thinking these devilish plans. But in the one particular series of DC Comics, 52, the twist about it at some point, because it involves like a jillion different characters with different story arcs, it involves including a character called Booster Gold, a character who is a time traveler and travels along with a personal companion robot, Skeeter, who is similar to Jack in these games. But at some point, Skeeter goes rogue and becomes officially the villain. It's revealed that the twist is that he was hijacked by the Caterpillar villain.
Wow. Sorry, Tio. You say Skeeter. I'm like, wow. Disney don't really have a dark ending. The friend betrayed him.
Yeah.
Although is that more or less silly than the middle schoolers making a shrinking ray and a giant robot?
Ah, that movie. I mean,
Yeah, just-
that movie would otherwise be ho-hum, but the fact that it goes insane with what was supposed to be an otherwise down-to-earth TV show is kind of amazing. Like, again, let's not forget, Doug is supposed to be about the story of the creator, I guess, as a kid.
Yeah.
And it was
Mr.
mostly down to
Mind, that's
earth.
what it's called.
So,
And yet, apparently, according to him, his bullies made a giant robot in the shrinking ray.
and he discovered a monster in a lake who could read, and who he described as Hermione.
Basically, Anya just found out that Maria. Basically, there's been some people who have evacuated to here, and Maria might be among them.
Oh, damn.
So so let's see if we can find her. Go
Well,
ahead and
what's
finish it.
left of her. But yeah, anyway, like I said, apparently also Doug was a fan of Harry Potter since he disguises the monster as Hermione.
Well, Harry Potter was around at that time.
Mind you, this was after that Doug was bought by Disney.
Probably isn't.
Yeah.
By the way, Jova, someone on YouTube made a Harry Potter credits roll, Avengers Endgame style.
Oh, cute.
Hey, it's actually really well done. Like, it looks professional.
So what, did they do like with the whole showing the characters while so crediting their actors like Endgame's credits?
And it even includes the signatures of the main characters, just like with the OG6, and then like I don't even know how they did it, but
Wow.
maybe the signatures are probably available on the internet for some reason.
Either that guy went to a lot of effort to get them. Kudos.
They're probably around somewhere on the internet, most likely.
Well,
But
you never
anyway,
know. There are some people who are incredibly devoted, and hey, if I recall correctly, the Harry Potter actors were available enough back in the day.
Well, this was made recently, though, so I.
Well, okay, maybe he did one of those things like where you can participate in an auction for the actor's time or whatnot.
I guess. All right, indigenous creatures. Oh yeah. Okay, so
Oh, no.
Control, you have any
Oh
info on this thing?
boy.
Looks like a big snake or a worm made of stone.
Can we kill it?
no, we can't too.
Damn it.
It's okay, Tail. It actually works really well as cover.
Wait, seriously?
Yes.
Basically, Tail, these worms, don't worry, Tail, these worms don't actually hurt you. Basically, they're made of stone, which means they're incredibly hard to destroy, so don't bother.
That
basically,
said, don't make him mad.
Don't make them mad, though, still. However, Tail, here's the interesting thing. As long as you can also use them as cover, and they become really useful. And here we go, Tail. Here's what they eat: glowing fruit. So if you want to attract them to a specific spot, just shoot down the glowing fruit to make it fall.
It's not low hanging enough to make a joke out of it.
And there we go.
Boop. Now it is.
So
Still
basically,
looks ugly.
that's one of the primary gimmicks of this level. Make good
Movable
use of,
cover.
yes, make good use of the worms and the fruits to get some cover done, or maybe even block some shots.
I don't know. I hope so. Ty's as tough as a broom op, though, so if anyone could make it, it'd be him.
So who the hell was that
He's gonna die,
Locust
isn't he?
guy anyway?
You're pessimistic, aren't you, today?
Well, that's what always happens. Don't worry, guys. If anyone can make it, it will be him, and then dies for not too long after.
Maybe. But he may
I mean, you might as well just go out and say, "Don't worry, man. I've known him for 15 years. I am sure he will be." Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the funeral of guy who was main character's best friend. If only he hadn't jinxed it by saying he would be fine.
See, Tail, they're friendly.
They still look ugly.
Well, beauty is
Theo,
in the
don't
eyes of the
push your luck.
beholder.
They're like,
I'm
it's a
warmist,
miracle they're letting
officially warmist, but there you go.
Wow, you say I'm pessimistic.
Anyway, yeah, here's another cool thing. Basically, and I checked basically everybody. If you want to check this for yourselves, because I couldn't find it, I can't find the tweet itself anywhere. So here's what you do, everybody. Check out Shepard Gaming's channel, and there's a video he made called Gears 5 is a disgrace to the franchise. That basically he talks about how certain characters in multiplayer cost $20. Yes, I'm not kidding, but to be fair, this was back in October 2019. Maybe they've changed the prices since then, so keep that in mind.
It still is a good documentary of how stupid things were, even if they have changed it.
Sure. Here's the thing. Okay, for those who don't remember, Rod Ferguson is the head of the coalition, the current guy in charge of the Gears franchise. So, because of the terrible pricing of the microtransactions, the fans obviously complained a lot, as they should. And there's this fanboy who made this tweet, and I'm gonna quote here: "I love Gears of War and I love Gears 5, but honestly I'm so incredibly sick and tired of seeing all these people bitch to," and then they tags in the official Twitter accounts. "This community is filled with toxic, entitled people who cry like children. To those people, fuck off, enjoy the game, FFS." And guess who liked this tweet?
Don't tell me. The coalition.
Rod Ferguson liked this tweet.
Ah, why am I not surprised?
Rod Ferguson liked the tweet calling the community of Gears of War filled with toxic, entitled people who cry like children. So
Funny, because Gears of War and...
That's very classy of you, Rod.
Question actually, guys.
Wait, hold on, I gotta say this so funny, huh? How Gears of War 5... Go on.
How many people bought those microtransactions?
Well,
What?
that's... I failed to realize how that's relevant to the point.
What I mean is, people. What I mean is, everyone gets angry at microtransactions, and yet people keep buying them.
That's the thing. People who buy them usually are not the ones who complain about them.
Yeah, here's the thing, Dwibs. Microtransactions actually are not bought by the majority. Let me introduce you to a term called whales. The idea of microtransactions are to go
Don't worry,
whaling.
I know what the term whales means.
That's the thing, though.
In
More
that
often
context.
than not, the facilitators behind microtransactions are people who have way too much money and are willing to spend on this sort of stuff, especially when it comes to loot boxes, too.
Well, except in where are the countries where they banned them?
Well, okay. If you'll allow me, Jova, I think I can. Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. I know you've never played an Uncharted multiplayer, but I have. So I have and I'm assuming there's some common aspects. So I think I can tell you this. Okay. See, Dibs, in the Uncharted multiplayer, specifically, let's talk about Uncharted 4 multiplayer. This is the most recent one, the better one. Basically, there's an Uncharted 4 multiplayer. You can play as pretty much a lot of characters, even the villains. You know, most of them are already there. Some of them were added with patches, and some of them are bought with DLC for like $3 or something. So basically, there's a lot of characters you can use in the multiplayer of Uncharted. I'm assuming it's probably similar in Gears, even though I've never played multiplayer in Gears. I'm assuming it's probably in the same way. By all means, everybody correct me in the comments if it's not. But assuming it is. So you're telling me that in order to play, and allow me to remind everybody that the Delta Squad is not included in the base game multiplayer of Gears 5. You have to buy those.
For comparison's sake, that's like if you made Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and Sideswap made
Actually,
locked behind
there's a-
loot boxes in a
there's a
War for
better
Cybertron
comparison.
game.
There's a better comparison for a game that now it's discontinued, but back then was more infamous. Star Trek Traxos, where it starred an original crew, but if you wanted the original, bridge crew of the original Enterprise, you need to fork the in-game currency equivalent for like what, $50, I think.
Okay. Let me put it like this. Super Smash Brothers. You've played Super Smash Brothers multiplayer?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine if the next Smash Brothers after Ultimate had each of the DLC characters cost $20. Allow me to remind you that the game costs $60. So you pay $60 for the game, and then you pay $20 per DLC character. That is ridiculous and a complete.
My point was more people don't like microtransactions, and yet there's others that keep buying them. That's the only way they're going to either go away or be reworked.
But what if the people? But what about the people who want to play as those DLC characters? But the price, as I've just explained, is ridiculous. Like, I mean, come on! Like this is such a clear case of a game wanting to nickel and dime you for all of your pennies. Like, it's just a very shitty practice business.
Well, my point was more just the case of the loudness of the internet versus I guess in this case, the apathy of the general public.
Well, Bloods, apathy is never really an excuse for that sort of stuff. Not only that, but like we said, though, more often than not when it comes to
Did I say it was?
It's kind of implying it is, but I digress. Maybe...
I didn't say it was, did I?
Well, that's the thing, your argument's kind of implying that it is, but if you don't mean it then, look at it like this, though. I mean, okay, so people are apathetic. That doesn't mean that people shouldn't still raise awareness about it, though. And also, as we pointed out,
well, that's the thing, though.
Hold on, let me finish.
But they've been going on about it for years, and virtually nothing's been done.
Well, with baby steps here, like, again, I mean, that's like saying that it didn't fix Star Wars Battlefront 2. Spoilers, it ended up doing so. And that's the thing, though. With people raising awareness of this, Gears of War 5 has not exactly been selling the best game-wise, which is going to be a major problem. Like, sure, microtransactions can make money, but nothing will really amount to the actual base sales of a game, unless it's a mobile game.
Yeah, it depends. If it's like a free mobile game, and the stuff inside is just, like cosmetic stuff for little boosts that don't really affect much of anything, then fair enough, I guess.
That said, though, we should remember that there's a narrow line. Like, just because something is cosmetic doesn't always mean that it's okay to put that behind loot boxes. Case in point.
If it's just this one thing that costs like 99p or something, then.
Well, yeah, true that. If it's something like Fortnite, where you download the game for free and then you have the microtransactions, then that's better. However, that's not the case with Gears 5. With Gears 5, you have to pay $60. Well, unless you use Game Pass, of course.
Yeah.
But but let's take Game Pass out of the equation for a moment. Because if you buy the game physically in the store, it's it was $60 at launch. It's probably less now by this point. But you know what I mean, right? The retail price at launch was $60. It's $60 for the base game, and in order to play as all of the old characters, remember Delta Squad has 4 characters: Marcus, Cole, Baird, and Dom. That means, and each of them cost $20 back in October 2019, apparently. That means, Dwebs, that in order to play as the OG characters of this franchise in the multiplayer of Gears 5, we have to. So 4 times 20? Yeah, $120. To like this is that's ridiculous. Yes,
Like, at that point, it goes beyond just being quote-unquote microtransactions and feels more like macro-transactions. But yes, the technical term is microtransactions, but that is like nickel and diming to the max. And not only that, okay, even if you could argue that they are some of the same sub-archetype as other player characters, sometimes there's an advantage to getting those characters. But even still, let's say somebody really, really, really wants that character, like, you could talk about, oh, they play the same as another one, but even if that were the case, it's still a very classical character. And locking that classical character behind a huge paywall is just... No! That is terrible!
Yeah, it is. If you ask Gears fans what's your favorite character in the series, most of them will say Marcus.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, yes, I am aware that Marcus is no longer the main character of the new games, but at the same time, it kind of sucks that you don't, because Gears 5, if I remember correctly, I'll have to look back again, but I think Gears 5 already had those characters available at the beginning. Sorry, Gears 4, already had those characters available from the get-go. So, yeah, like it. It's starting to become. See, this is exactly why I'm against Game Pass, because it gives Microsoft the excuse to fill their games with microtransactions. Well, but you only spent $1 for it because of Game Pass. You know.
Yeah, that is sort of becoming a bit of a caveat of it. Like, and it's really not a good tactic to have. Like, again, the sales of Gears of War 5 itself have been less than impressive, to say the least. And you know what? I'm willing to bet that part of that is because of microtransactions. Like, you know, Gears of War 4 got critiqued for its story there too, but at the very least, its multiplayer was relatively untouched by microtransactions.
I can think of an additional reason.
What?
Go ahead.
I swear to you, maybe it's just my dodgy memory, but I don't remember seeing Gears 5 being marketed all that much. I just saw it available in shops, and I'm like...
That's a good point, too. Yeah, like, Jesus Christ, Microsoft... Okay, you know, between Gears of War 5, that zombie game, whose name I can't even remember...
State of Decay 2, Jordan.
Yeah, State of Decay 2, and the one with Terry Crews, Crackdown 3, Microsoft were really bad with marketing games and reminding us that, oh yeah, these exist.
It's it really is a problem. Like, and allow me to remind everybody that and one of the main reasons is, of course, the promotion that was going on at the time. Because remember, that Gears 5 released on September 2019. Allow me to remind everybody that at that time you were allowed to pay either $1 for 1 month of Game Pass or $2 for 2 months. Meaning, if you're only interested in the campaign, like me, all you have to do is pay $1 and take that 1 month to finish the campaign, and you're done. There you go. So so basically, it's abundantly clear that, again, it's abundantly clear that they were betting on people stick around with because of the multiplayer aspect, obviously, but. Yeah, and that's the main reason why you lose sales, because believe it or not, Microsoft, there are people who bought these games because of the campaign and the characters.
But the problem is that Microsoft wanted to take on a more games as a service approach, because it totally was going to work out so well and fun. Like, geez, no wonder people say that they're kind of fit to buy EA. I remember back when people thought that was going to be a thing.
Yeah, there was also a problem, according to what I've heard. Forza Horizon 3 was great, but the problem is, compared to Forza Horizon 4, that was more games as a service-y, which had a lot of daily events and stuff like that. Like, it was far less... it was still a good game, from what I've been told, but it wasn't nearly as good because it had a lot of game service-y stuff attached to it.
Are you lost, Pedro?
I got a bit lost, yes. Okay.
Let me just.
There you go. I think I'm fine now. See, the problem is, yeah, might as well explain that too. See, the problem with this particular section is that it's kind of hard to tell where the game wants me to go. See, here's the thing. If this was Gears 3, this wouldn't be a problem, because in Gears 3, you have a little star marker telling you where to go. However, you don't in the first 2 games. And my problem there is that most of these corridors look the same to me. So so it kind of is a little quite a bit easy to get lost because again, and not only are there so many different paths, I don't know which one I'm supposed to take because the game doesn't really give me any kind of direction. You know, I kind of wish they would have thought ahead. And fortunately, Gears 3 fixes this by including a little star marker that tells you where to go. So in Gears 3, I never get lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because most of these corridors look similar, and again, the game doesn't specifically tell me which of the various paths I'm supposed to take. So yeah, it can be a bit easy to lose your bearings.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm almost done.
Rhodey, run! Rhodey, run! Rhodey, run!
Yes. There you go. I think I found the right path now.
Should be smooth sailing from here.
There you go. The checkpoint confirms that I found
Yeah,
it.
sure. And then the aliens will just suddenly decide to just leave.
Dweebs,
you
with
go.
an attitude like that,
Where's
you're
the
probably
conveniently
jinxing
placed
us.
there?
Hello.
Sorry, ladder.
The level designers were very nice to leave that there too. Come on, don't.
At least it's on a
Yeah.
ledge painted yellow.
Don't be so rude to you.
Don't be robotists.
No, he's Wormist. Remember, we already established that. He's Wormist. Well, Tail. I can tell you something though. In that case, Tail, you're not gonna like Act 2 of this game then.
Joyful.
Let's just say there's a big worm involved. That's all.
Of course. I mean, I guess the locals need a way to, dig all of these, subterranean cave system.
So are worms to you what snakes are to Indiana Jones?
Well, no, Java, sorry, Pedro. In general, like, bugs and worms like that, are not exactly my thing.
Sure. Oh, Tail, but come on, wouldn't it be so cool to go to Tokyo and catch them with a net?
I'm sure it
How
would
do
if
you
I was
catch a
in
giant
bear
moth
where-
with a
where
net?
they have hornets the size of my fucking hand, how they can live, I have no
Jesus.
idea.
Yeah, seriously. Insects there are flipping dangerous, man.
Variety is the spice of death.
Like, no wonder they put so many killer bugs in Resident Evil games. They've got killer bugs in real life in Japan.
Under that, Jova, Pedro was going kinda also for UK Watch, but also the Pokemon,
That's the thing in Japan.
Yeah, Beedrills, there's a reason why Beedrills are in universe so massive. They're based on the Japanese hornet.
And those
Yeah,
things are pretty big. Could probably kill you if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially Pedro himself said that one of the biggest things for this Pokemon was him hunting bugs when he was a kid. So that's something that apparently is a very cool thing for kids to do in Japan for some reason.
Yeah, Japan really likes bug
I guess
collecting.
it was the equivalent of the playing with sticks that the children in America, used to do.
I guess.
Oop.
Let's move!
Oh god, there's a bang at the door.
Nice of them to make some forts for us.
Yes.
And a turret too. You're too kind.
Unfortunately, these truckers are very stiff. But I'll have to throw them the old fashioned.
Damn it.
Well, Carmine's going ahead, so surely it's safe.
Carmine, stay put.
I do wonder if his AI is programmed, specifically to having rush.
I'm surprised, considering the amount of luck he's having at the minute. I'm surprised he doesn't have the nickname Karma. You get it? Carmine, Karma.
Well, that's how it lives.
Yeah.
And on that
Alright.
terrible joke, we end the part.
See you next time.
Part. Yes.
Yeah.
See ya.